to outlining. So it's been a while. I can't remember exactly the last time I posted an outlining vlog. I fell off the bandwagon for a little bit because I also decided April was going to be the month that I go ahead and paint my house. And yeah, when you start painting, it's kind of hard to stop and do other things. So I had to dedicate like a week of my life to just painting. And then after that, I had other things that popped up. But I am back. I caught up a little bit. I had left off with the midpoint, and now I am up to, I think I just plotted out bad guys close in, and this is for the Save the Cat experiment. I don't know if I've already said that, but one thing I did during my downtime, because I didn't really have a chance to sit down and plot, what I did do was finish reading Save the Cat, which is why you'll notice there's extra tabs on here now because I've bookmarked a bunch of stuff. And I'm very glad I did because I didn't even realize there was a whole section in here about genres. And once I read that, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what the genre of my book is before I move any further. And I had it closed down to 2 genres. I had it that it was either the why done it or a monster in the house. And I started, you know, going through the why done it and seeing if things plugged in, and they did. They plugged in seamlessly. I was like, wow, this is nice. So I know for a fact, 100%, my 4th novel is a why done it story in terms of genre for Save the Cat. It's nothing close to a monster in the house. I don't know why I was thinking it was that genre, but it's not. So I went ahead, and because it's a why done it, I wanted to identify a few things, because a why done it has 3 things. It has a detective, a secret, and a dark turn. So the detective was easy, that's my MC. The secret was super easy because it's basically the whole point of the book. And the best part is that your secret, as the detective starts to uncover the secret, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and becomes even more of, like, you thought you were uncovering this small thing, but you're really uncovering this big thing. And that happened seamlessly. Like, this outlining session I just had was the most encouraging because I was able to figure out scenes, and maybe that was my problem, was that before I was kind of forcing myself to sit down and outline every week. I think taking a break from it really helped me, because I just hammered out like 3 beats because I was behind, and I figured out stuff that I kind of had vaguely known at the beginning. I have some specific scenes in my head. I think maybe a few small plot twists, and then I have like this big reveal I have in mind for the end, but I haven't quite gotten there yet because I haven't gotten to that beat in the story, but I know what it's gonna be once I reach it, because up until that point I had all these ideas for the beginning of the book, but once I got to the midpoint of the book, it was like I was having a false crescendo, which you're supposed to have, but I was like, oh, cool. Now what? Like, that wasn't the whole crescendo of the whole story, but I wasn't sure what to do, like, after this. Because I couldn't just break straight into the final crescendo, because then where's the other, you know, whole Act 2 and Act 3? So, Act 1, I think I kind of sort of have figured out. Act 2, I'm getting there, and Act 3 is kind of vague at this point, but I'm sure I'll figure it out as I get farther in. But right now I've been going to the end of the part where it talks about the beats to kind of go through all the little checkpoints, and I've been just double checking that my book has all of this right now. So I went to the midpoint and I was like, okay, do I clearly have a false victory or false defeat? And that was 100% yes. Have I raised the stakes of the story? I think I'm gonna have to figure this out a little bit more once I really flesh it out. I think I've raised the stakes of the story, but I shouldn't say I think. I should know for a fact, so I just wanna be very confident on this point. your A story and your B story cross in some way, and I forgot that this was even a thing that you're supposed to have happen in the midpoint. So for my book, you know, A story is this mystery that needs to be solved, and B story is this other mystery that needs to be solved. My main character's not going in to discover B story, but she realizes later on that they're linked, and that's when they cross, which is exactly at the midpoint. And I did that accidentally, so I was very happy to see that that was a beat. And then the last part, can you identify a shift from the wants to the needs, even if it's subtle? I have to work on this because, again, my story has changed a lot where I keep having to go back and identify my character's wants and needs. And I also want to make sure that there's this very, very clear drive that she has that follows the beats. And right now she's kind of all over the place. It's weird. This is the first time where I've had the plot of the story figured out before I had the character of the story figured out. Because normally I figured out the characters first, because my stories in the past have always been very emotion driven, so it was all about the characters. Now it's all plot driven, which is great. I think that will make for a much stronger story, but it also means I still feel very vague about who my character is. But I'm getting clearer and clearer the farther I get into this story, and hopefully once I finish plotting the story, I can really sit down and figure out who she is and, you know, what her likes are and different things like that, and very, very clearly identify the wants and the needs. Because I think if I don't identify her wants and needs, that the story's not really gonna be as dynamic as it's supposed to be. So yeah, that's the outlining I did this week. I am gonna, I think, take a little bit of break from these outlining vlogs and give you other videos instead, just because since I am noticing that when I sit down every week to outline, I'm not as productive as if I just outline every other week. Let me know in the comments below if you're still participating in the Save the Cat experiment, how it's going for you, and anything else, or if you're participating in Camp NaNoWriMo, how that's going for you. I'm also participating in camp, and I am actually catching up to my goals, so I think I'm actually going to make the deadline that I need to make, which makes me incredibly happy. As always, be sure to subscribe to my author newsletter to get free downloads, and if you would like, head over to my Patreon page where you can unlock cool exclusive content. Otherwise, that is it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to comment down below, give a thumbs up, and subscribe.